Unmute the mic, speak up. The male perspective. Caregiving knows no boundaries. It's time to hear from the voices that often go unheard. Meet our global male caregiver speakers, sharing their powerful stories, experiences, and insights. Introducing our esteemed presenters, Dr. Wayne Freemanchon, Kevin Jordan, Dr. George M. Ackerman, Trevor Jeremiah Carter, Keith Demps, Basiliso, Bas Moreno, Lance Aslatin, Mark Varkavisser, Michael Waters, Scott Wells. Connect, learn, be inspired. Together, we are stronger. Together, we make a difference. And now, meet our beautiful summit hosts, Cheryl D. Mims and Christina Keys. Reserve your ticket now and be part of this impactful event.
Hi, guys. I really appreciate the opportunity, both Cheryl and Christina. Thank you for the opportunity. Speakers, great job today. Really enjoyed listening in. Male caregivers, as mentioned multiple times in these presentations, it's a tough, it's a very difficult, challenging industry. And I can't think of a better place for our male caregivers to serve than our military. We have servicemen all over the world who have multiple benefits. And that's why I'm here today, is to share how you can access these resources to help the person that you're, the individual, the veteran that you're taking care of, family, friends. We can all say, I think we can all agree that the VA is at times thought of in a way as very challenging, very difficult, frustrating. But the reality is, I'm here to tell you that it's actually quite the opposite. My experience with the VA from a business perspective is that if you understand that you fit in a box for any particular benefit at the VA, that in reality, it's a very simplistic process to procure those benefits. And so today we've listened a lot about mental health, the actual challenges of taking care of an individual at home. My goal here today is to give you some resources that you can utilize, not only to help get you as a caregiver paid, but more importantly, to help the veteran that you're going to be servicing, and potentially even the spouses of veterans that have access to multiple benefits. So let's just dive in first off to the first benefit that I started a company called Veteran Caregivers in 2015. Purple Heart's Home Health, which Christina mentioned. We do service skilled, that's physical therapy, and also in-home care through that organization. But Veteran Caregivers we are contracted with 3,000 providers throughout the United States, all the name brands that you know, Visiting Angels, Home Instead, Right at Home, etc. And we service these companies through a program called Aid and Attendance. Aid and Attendance is a benefit to wartime veterans. If you serve just one day during a wartime period, and you served at least 90 days as a veteran, you become what is officially to the VA a veteran at that time. So if that's true and you're a wartime veteran, then you potentially qualify for this benefit. And that's not only the veteran, but in fact, the spouse of the veteran too, whether living or the spouse has passed. So that's kind of a unique thing that most people don't realize. There are just hundreds of thousands so just to give you the number perspective on this, right now the VA is communicating roughly almost 10 million veterans right now, of which are 65 and older, who are in our communities and throughout the world that could potentially benefit from this product. So again, you have to be a wartime veteran. You have to have the need for care, clearly. But what does this product present for you? What does it do for a veteran? So has two aspects to it, which is really nice. First off, it increases their income, and then it also provides a medical reimbursement aspect, which is where the caregiver and where the family can actually pay for the caregiver. So the VA will directly deposit these funds when approved to the veteran's bank account, and then they can access those funds clearly to pay you guys to provide the care. So our company provides. So there's a unique challenge to the aid and attendance pension. So we'll talk about the simple part of the benefit, and then we're going to talk about a little bit of the challenge part of the benefit. First off, if you're, again, wartime veteran in the need of care, and you apply with the VA for this product, they're going to ask you a couple of questions. First off there's an income requirement. In other words, there's a limit on income. And then there's also an asset limit. Now, the asset limit's around $160,000. So it's pretty high, and most people qualify from that perspective. But on the income side, that's where it can be somewhat of a challenge. And it's meant mostly for people who have lower income. So let's just take one simple example, a single veteran. A single veteran today in 2025 is eligible up to $2,358 from the VA. And so what does that mean? They're eligible for that. So if a veteran had zero income whatsoever, then that veteran would receive $2,358 in additional income from that zero total all the way up to $2,358. So quite a nice little product there for somebody who is making zero income. Of course, that's very rare. Most people have Social Security, right, as their check. So let's give you an example of somebody at $1,500 of income each month, and that's their only source of income is Social Security, let's say. Then the VA is going to increase their income from $1,500 to $2,358. So $800 plus additional income a month is granted to that veteran out of the gate. So that's the very simplistic part of the benefit. And that's where most VA representatives, you have advocates, VSO officers, VA agents, and legal attorneys elder law attorneys who are procuring that benefit on a daily basis in the tens of thousands for these veterans throughout the United States and all over the world. So that's a nice feature. But from a caregiving perspective, not most people who do increase their income, if they're really in bad need, they're going to use that additional income to pay for care. But here's where our company comes in and really changes the ballgame. So that guy, the same example of a guy that has $1,500 worth of income, he's only getting the increase of income to that maximum pension. What about the $1,500 that's still left on the table that can be utilized for medical reimbursement? Okay, this is where the challenge starts to begin. If you are a veteran with $1,500 of income, you clearly need that money for, your bills, your rent, your groceries, and everything else. It's not realistic for somebody with that low of an income to pay for in-home care. It's very rare and extreme that they do. So how do we get the medical reimbursement started if I can't pay a monthly fee of $1,500 for care because I need to use my money for other things? That's where veteran caregivers comes in. We come in and literally finance that care for them. We give them legal counsel for free, which is a requirement, by the way, at the VA. So they're offered legal counsel. They fill out all the documents for them. They procure all the documents that are needed on their behalf. There's a discharge paperwork from the VA called a DD-214. We can pull that from the National Archive at the VA. It's about a 30 to 35 page application that our legal team fills out for them. And essentially what we're doing is we're trying to make the process of procuring the information needed from the VA very simplistic, right? We want them to be able to if you're hurting, if you're in a situation where you need this level of care, it's very difficult for someone to fill out that level of information. So what we're trying to accomplish here across the board is to make the program very simplistic. So there should never be, if you will, a fear from the veteran or the family that they have to fight and go through all this process with the VA, because that's why we provide legal counsel for these guys. So essentially what I'm trying to refer to is we can get the establishment of the a medical reimbursement. What we're going to do is we're going to pay the first month's invoice off on behalf of the veteran with a loan that is zero interest, zero risk. And so how in the world do we have a loan that is zero interest, zero risk? Well, our company partnered with multiple finance companies throughout the United States that are veteran owned, who recognize and understand the challenges of our veterans and what they're going through. So they have all essentially donated the resources we need. It's in the millions and millions of dollars to provide zero interest loans, which benefit these financial companies because they can go out and tell their partners in industry that they help and serve veterans. So that sacrifice of those profits to them is beneficial in the PR and marketing and advertising that they gain by saying they help service veterans. So by procuring all this money, we're able to literally offer a veteran zero interest, zero risk. And what does the zero risk mean? So the VA takes up to 6 months to approve this pension. And what we're doing during that 6 months is we're supplying every single month a paid off invoice to the VA that says, look, this veteran is establishing a reoccurring monthly expense that is being paid, and thus the $1,500 of income that he has is now being utilized to pay for care. Now, what that does is it establishes a medical reimbursement, which means the VA is seeing a paid off invoice, right? Then they are receiving, that tells the VA that the veteran is now needing a reimbursement each month in that amount. So what this does essentially, guys, is it gives a veteran, he keeps his Social Security check for $1,500. He uses that for rent, bills, and whatever else. Our company is paying each month for this care while the pension is being approved. And at the very final moment, let's say 6 months goes by, we've invested $2,000 a month or $1,500 a month for this particular example for 6 months. So we're at roughly $9,000 of investment in this veteran, and the VA has reviewed 6 months of paid off invoices. What the VA does at that point is they approve the pension, which, by the way, we've never, ever had a pension denied, ever. We do all of our due diligence ahead of time to make sure all the paperwork's done perfectly, that we're communicating with the VA every single thing they need to know to get this approved. The only reason for a 6-month delay is the VA's own massive amount of applications that come to them, and it just takes time for them to process through all those applications. My point is this: 6 months later, it comes by, the VA approves that application, and they write a check to the veteran for 6 months of care that we've put $1,500 in there every single month, and they're going to get a check for that amount to pay back that loan. So the question poses, all family members always ask us this question: what happens if you go 4 months and my dad passes away and the pension is not approved? This is where our partnerships are extremely valuable. Veteran caregivers with the financial institutions have negotiated for that loan to be wiped out for every veteran that does not receive a pension for any reason. Fortunately, we've never ever had a pension denied, but if for any reason we made a mistake, it would be wiped out for them. If they pass away before they actually get approved the pension, it is wiped out for them, because we literally have thousands of these veterans on this pension. And for the sheer volume of those folks, we can encompass that debt and wipe it out for the family. So here's what I want for all you male caregivers who are out there. This is just one product that I'm talking about. There's several others at the VA. Granted, Aid in Attendance is a fabulous product to help your veteran increase their income and to get that medical reimbursement started to pay for your services. But it also pays for other things like dental care, It could be anything that they have to pay for that's related to a medical expense. So what an incredible resource that's available to them. And unfortunately, most people don't know about it. It's been around since 1956. It's allocated roughly $7.5 billion from Congress a year for veterans to access this product. And it's very unfortunate that most people don't even know about it. So that's why this was why I wanted to share the number one product, in my opinion, that is most underutilized, least communicated to veterans, and it's available to them, and they can procure this product not only through our company, and you can find us at veterancaregiversofamerica.com, but you can go down to your local veteran service officer who's in every county of every state of the United States of America. Okay, so it's very easy to access the information. You can go online and type in aid and attendance, and you're going to find information you need. So that is one product that I'd like to, obviously communicate and make sure you guys understand. Secondly, there is Homemaker Home Health Aid, which, Christina, you mentioned Purple Heart's Home Health, which is, yes, another company that I own in Texas. It services only Texas because of regional boundaries for state law. We simply do not at this time own other agencies in other states. And so we are a Tri-West certified entity there. And there's a program at the VA called Homemaker Home Health Aid. This program is very unique. Unlike aid and attendance, the VA doesn't pay the veteran directly in this program. The VA pays companies like mine, Purple Heart's Home Health, who are licensed provider assistance services companies. This would be companies like Visiting Angels, Right at Home, Home Instead. If you recognize those brands in the industry, all of those companies who are contracted, like our company, Purple Hearts, with Tri-West in the West, and it is Optum in the East. The dividing line is Texas all the way up north to Canada. Anybody's on the east side of the country is an Optum contracted provider. And the companies that, like myself in Texas and West, are all contracted with Tri-West. And what that does is it puts us under a regulation with the VA to provide care to these veterans that are authorized. Essentially, it's a very simplistic product to get. If you are in need of any type of care, so if you need 2 or more ADLs, and if you guys who aren't familiar what ADLs are, that's activities of daily living, bathing, dressing, ambulation, transferring, eating, all of those things that maybe it's very difficult for a veteran to perform. All they have to do is go to the VA and inform their doctor. Now, obviously, they have to be enrolled at the VA, which is very simplistic to do, by the way. You can make one phone call at the VA. I'm sorry, I don't have the number with me at the moment, but you can make a phone call and get access to your eligibility for medical at the VA. Once you're in the VA and you're receiving medical benefits, all you have to do is go to your doctor and simply say, I think I need help with my ADLs. And they will initiate a consult with a social worker who will contact you on the phone, and they will run through a series of questions with you. And as long as you fit the box, which is a very simplistic box, by the way, you just simply have to have need for 2 or more ADLs, and you are qualified for this program. There was a new law passed in January. It's called the Elizabeth Dole Act. And if you can look that up online, you'll find that has expanded services for this program throughout every single county in every state of the United States. The VA is now required by law to help every single veteran who is in need of care. So this program is going to pay the Visiting Angels, the Right at Homes of the world, the contracted companies like Purple Hearts, pay them directly for that care. And so that's a second product that is fantastic. You got your aid and attendance product, which pays the veteran directly, income increases, medical reimbursement. Then you have the Homemaker Home Health Aid program, which is just free to every veteran who is eligible at the VA for the medical services. And of course, their requirement is 2 ADLs or more. Then there's a third product, which is called Veteran Direct Care. It's a fairly new product at the VA. And what that product is ultimately really designed to do is to have someone in the family, instead of an outsider who's coming into the home. This one is so all you male caregivers who have moms and dads who need help, here's your chance, because the Veteran Direct Care program pays the veteran directly to pay a family member to provide the care. Fairly new. It's mostly utilized in very difficult to service situations. The VA clearly prefers to have an outside company do the work because they are regulated. There's APS issues that they have to deal with. It's mostly that they're licensed and regulated by their own states and federal law, and those companies need to provide that care. In this case, there is no oversight from the VA. What they do is they provide X amount of dollars. They negotiate with the veteran through that process, and they give them so many dollars to help a family member provide the care. Now, in one thing I forgot to say also, on the Homemaker Home Health program, there is a respite aspect to that product as well. And this, as we all know, even when families have companies and other people coming in to help them, there's still need that you can't. Typically, there's no 24/7 care option, at least not with the VA. So that means that a lot of times family have to make up the difference of time. Well, there's a respite option there too, which I always want to mention, because I know all you guys that are, trying to service family, the respite option will give your family a break, give them a chance to go for a weekend, get out of the house. As we all know, and we've heard this over and over again with all the presenters today, the challenge mentally, physically, it's a wonderful, amazing program to do that, right? And so you need a break every once in a while, and that the VA does provide that. So I'm going to say we have 3 programs that I'm mentioning today: Aid and Attendance, Homemaker, Home Health Aid, and then of course we have the Veteran Direct Care. And I know, Cheryl, there's a lot of questions coming through here. I thought maybe we might try to address a couple of these questions if you don't mind. But other than that, I think I've reached probably my limit here for you guys. But I want to make sure I answer all these questions. So we have one coming in Singapore. Having 2 or more activities of daily living is key threshold used to determine eligibility for several states' subsidies and payouts. So yeah, that's just a great comment there, 100%. And then we've got an elder fund, which looks like they have some. So there's different comments in here. I just wanted to look at. I don't think there's any particular questions. It looks like it's just individual comments. So Cheryl, Christina, I hope that I gave at least some of our male caregivers some options, that they understand the simplicity. I'd like to end it with this. It's highly recommended that you always reference an advocate. There's 3 types of services from the VA that are free of charge to you. You have an advocate at every single medical facility at the VA, 100% free for you to access and help the veteran through any paperwork and process. They're a legal person for you. There are VA accredited agents, which that's who we utilize. We pay these folks to provide a legal assistance in filling out the paperwork and answer all these questions that we're talking about. There's a lot that goes on with it, right? But they walk you through it, ABC 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then lastly, you have attorneys, elder law attorneys who are obviously well educated and understand the same thing. All of these people are trained by the VA to provide you the care that you need. And always know this, except for attorneys, elder law attorneys, every time you reach out to one of these advocates or VA accredited agents, it is by law that they cannot charge you. You need to know that. Make sure you do not fall for those companies out there that are trying to just make money off of you. It is free to you and is required by law and rules and regulations at the VA that you get those services for free.
The Global Caregivers Network proudly presents the 2nd Annual Global Male Caregivers Summit, happening April 12th, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us as we welcome 10 extraordinary male caregivers from